Is it okay to date your friend's once boyfriend? Someone who was once your friend's boyfriend.
Me, I feel like personally, I stay away. I feel like there's enough men that I don't want to do any that kind of dance. But this is the thing. My friends are very important to me.
Yeah.
I don't play around my friends. Their feelings, their values, what they care about is deeply important to me. And I'm not willing to even dream of risking that over a guy. That's my stance.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Hi guys, Murugi Muni here.
It's Lydia KM.
And we're back again with another episode of
The Messy In Between.
It's Definitely TMI. Good job.
Hi, princess.
How are you?
I'm good.
How are
thanks.
you and Miss Jane over there?
Miss Jane? Jane is staying alive.
And she's been around for a minute.
Do you know what I mean?
Why is she
It's like she's an actual tenant now.
I'm just like, see, now
Do you
you
know what
bust.
happened?
Yeah.
2 nights.
For those
of-
listening on a podcast platform, it is a pimple that
It's
is
a
growing. It's a
pimple.
growth on the side of her
and guess
face.
what? It's like it's tiny and sharp.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like a bump. It's tiny and sharp, so
But
you can see it.
I don't know, it's kind of growing on me. It's kind of like cute-ish. And then it's right at the apple of your cheek. You know, it's like, it's good.
We need
It's
to
giving beauty
establish
spot.
what
It's
cute
giving-
for you and me is.
It's
Because
giving beauty spot vibes. That's all I'm saying.
I should have just done it and made
Yeah,
it black,
put like a
right?
black thing.
But anyway, she's
Yeah.
doing great. As you can see, she's thriving.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Mm,
I am doing really good.
okay.
I am at peace. I am feeling happy. I'm feeling it on purpose and
Yes.
creative.
Is
Alive.
this the first episode we're shooting since you launched Kagi Wellness?
No, it is not.
It
And
is
we'll
not.
discuss this.
And actually, and anyone
God.
who would think that is wrong. They are wrong and they shouldn't think that, okay? I think it is, babe.
It is not.
It is
Sweetie.
not. It's
It is
not.
not,
Yeah,
baby.
you're right.
It is not.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, it's just like I'm in a beautiful season of my life right now.
I love that.
On this episode, I'm in England.
All right.
Yes.
How's
the
England? Oh my
It's
God, how is the
amazing.
UK right now?
So good. The wedding was
Ah,
amazing.
I
And
love that. And I know, I'm just like, wow. And I know your flight was great.
it
That's
was great.
so good.
And I'm safe and happy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway, she's going for a little bit, but she's coming back.
I'm
okay?
coming back.
She's
I'm
not
coming
leaving
back.
us. Inshallah, she is coming back.
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah?
I'm doing really good.
Mm.
What's it? Are you looking at? Oh, okay, fine. You looked at my lips and I was like,
Because
there
you're
lipstick?
sexy.
I'm like, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm doing really good. I'm
Yeah.
also at an at peace place in my life, and I 100% attribute it to therapy. Let me tell you, girl,
Ooh.
with every passing week
Ain't
that
that
I
right?
go, every passing week that I go to therapy, I'm just like, wait, first, how was I living as a goat before? And it's just
Goats.
like, it's just helping me realize so many things. Like, I feel so calm. Let me tell you, one of the main things that has changed me since I started therapy is like being present in the moment in the thing that I'm doing, even though I have many other things to do,
Mhm.
and realizing that at any one given point in time, you can only just be doing one thing if you're doing it properly.
Yeah.
So when I'm at TMI shoot, I know I have like, I need to call that person for wild. I need to do this for my
Mhm.
platform. But while I'm here, I'm at TMI shoot
Yeah.
and I am present at TMI shoot
Yeah.
instead of trying to do so many things. And it's given me such an ease of just like, you just can do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Because she helped me realize that
Mm.
sometimes I think I over operate because I'm so scared of being like ordinary. Like if I just,
Wow.
I'm just like, doing work at the ordinary pace that ordinary people do it, which for me is like my worst nightmare. It's like, yeah, then now you'll just be like everyone else. Then now you're not a high achiever anymore, or like an exceptional person. Now you're just like everyone else.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And so I was
Makes
just like,
sense, but
yeah.
very
But then she was
interesting.
like, so you're assuming that even you operating at like an ordinary level of like you're doing one thing at a time vis-a-vis trying to do 12 things at the same time, that assumes then that you don't have the mental capacity that you have, which makes you extraordinary, and all the other skills and talents that make you extraordinary. It's
That's
not
what I was
that
going
one
to
thing.
say.
Yeah.
It's like your exception, being exceptional is about doing.
Yeah.
That is probably the problem,
Exactly.
as
That
opposed
was-
to
mhm.
being. You're an
Exactly.
exception because you are.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so now I feel like I'm living a lot more just flowing,
Yeah.
and just like once I'm here. I'm not thinking about like, oh, I did the whole TMI shoot today, but I didn't manage to do this and this and this, and so therefore I'm not being
It's
exceptional.
a do.
That's the thing,
that.
yeah.
So, and funny enough, what I think is that when you do this efficiently, you do everything else efficiently.
Yeah.
You thinking about world right now means that you're not actually doing
Present
this at
here.
the best way.
That's it.
I'm
exactly.
so happy for you.
I'm loving it so much.
So happy
yeah.
for you. Oh, therapy. I've been screaming about it. Now I have a partner.
Oh my God. Yeah. I think
Together.
definitely some part of me used to think that therapy is definitely overrated, but it's not. If you have a good therapist, because I feel like that's key.
You gotta find the one that is right for you. I'm
yeah.
really happy for you because
Thank
I feel
you.
like now you can be exceptional.
Thank you. I can just be exceptional.
Just be exceptional.
Oh my God. And that it's not necessarily tied to your what you imagine it's called is hard work.
Yeah. Oof. Resting.
Rest.
The revolution is here.
Please.
We are rested women.
We are taking naps when we need them.
And we are sleeping early. That's another thing.
Ooh, we are, guys.
We are sleeping early.
Exactly.
Anyway, how are you guys? I hope you are doing well. I hope this episode finds you well. Mind you, it's found you Kipigana with your man. But
like, shut up, I'm watching TMI.
Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you, bitch.
Exactly.
It may have found you at war. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
It may have found you at war, but as we are bringing good energy and positive vibes, and we hope you're doing well, and we hope you're subscribed, whether you're listening to the podcast platforms or you're on YouTube, you are subscribed, and we also hope that you are following us on social media.
Yeah.
Lady KM, Moruki Muni, and TMI Podcast KE. We are growing, guys. And by the way, we have plans. We have plans. So if you want to be
about
I know. We have plans. We have
what we have in store for you. You don't even know the half of it. You don't want to miss this.
You want to be part of the winning team. You want to be part of the winning team. Actually, later this year, we're doing something we've never done before. So stick here. Be subscribed. Sorry, sweetheart.
What are we doing? Oh, right. Ooh,
yeah.
Yes.
We've never done it. So if you want to be the first to hear the news, make sure you're subscribed. You've got that notification bell on so that you know, so that you're the first, you don't miss out.
The first to actually know. So
I want to tell you something. So something I've realized, I think you must be a really good mom. I know you're a good mom, but one thing I see all the time is that you affirm people like kind of in a baby way.
I know,
all the time.
Yeah.
Like, good job, good girl. So it's like you just can't switch off the mom side.
I know.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Because I really like being affirmed. I really like when people say, even I do like a menial thing and someone is like, oh, that's great. That's nice.
But you see, you do like
like it's a kid.
Yeah.
Oh, because I told you good girl in the morning.
And it's many times you say that, good girl or good job, but you're saying good job like it's a baby you're talking to.
But
I am a baby.
Lydia, and you are, you are a baby. Please. The fact that they're making you work is astounding.
Ridiculous.
Astounding, honestly.
Unchain me.
Honestly. So our episode today, guys, is a Q&A, and we haven't done a Q&A in a minute.
Yeah.
We haven't done it in actually a really long time. So we put up a question tag on our Instagram, which if you follow us, you saw it and you have asked us the question that you want. Of course, we're open to answering more, and we won't be able to answer all of them, but you can leave more in the comment section and we'll do our best to respond to everyone. But for now, let's get into the questions that y'all asked. Go first.
Okay, fine. The first one. What is your take on paying dowry in this era?
I feel like it still stands as an important cultural tradition from a personal point of view, if you come from a culture where dowry is actually paid. But I think the significance of it is different now. Whereas before, it's literally, this is how much this girl is worth, and now you need to pay this number of cows and this number of goats and this amount of money. And if you can't, then you can't get her. I feel like now it's more of just like paying tribute to her parents and just like thanking them, and it just being more symbolic than anything. This whole thing of like, now your man is stressed that he might not be able to afford your dowry, and your uncles or your aunties or whatever making it a big deal that, wait, this guy is poor, no, we can't let him have her. That part is what I think is outdated. But just the entire culture around just the giving of something, it didn't have to be like, these days don't even do like actual dowry. It's more like cash gifts, if anything. And also they say, I think it's in Kikuyu culture that they're like, dowry you don't ever finish paying dowry. So it's just like every time, it's the same way when you go to your parents' house, every time you do some shopping, you'll say, I don't know, pay for your mom to do her hair or whatever. I think in that sense, it's still very much a part of our tradition today. Yeah,
I fully agree with that. I think there's something about culture that just, there's a beauty in it. I like the things in modern culture that remind us there were times where things were different or simpler. And of course, we are trying to undo as many of the negative things, the things that are oppressive and stuff. We're trying to undo as many of them. But the things that we can keep, keep what it's about, but in a traditional way, but also remove the thing that was kind of making people feel like they're being bought and stuff. I feel like that's the perfect balance for sure. In that breath though, since it's not that big of a deal, what about what's it paying for your dowry?
No. Are you kidding? It's supposed to be my man is coming to thank my parents for allowing him to have me. You know, it's just like, because that then makes sense. You're thanking your own parents on your own behalf. Then it's not, you can still do that, but it's not dowry. Let's not call it dowry. Let's call it what it is. But a lot of
people do pay their dowry.
Who is a lot of people?
This is what I personally feel.
Are you in between us paying your own dowry?
This is what I personally feel. I feel like sometimes in a situation where like maybe like how you're saying uncles or parents are being like so hard and really stressful on your man. Yeah. You guys want to get married, but they are standing in the way that way. Yeah. If he doesn't have the finances that way, women do.
Okay, I would never.
Yeah. But anyway, women do. Yeah. So anyway, that's just another view. I just wanted to know what your view.
If I ever hear about you doing something similar,
I feel like, first of all, I don't have parents like that.
Exactly.
That's one.
And that's the thing.
So it's like, I don't have parents who are going to be doing that. So it's a matter of whatever my man is bringing, that's what's going to be appreciated. Because this isn't actually about what I'm worth. Because if you start counting my education and all,
please,
that's not what it is. So since they're going to receive what my man is bringing, it shouldn't be an issue. But sometimes it's like that.
I really feel sorry for people who come from homes where it's just like, yes, you've been investing in this child and now it's time for them to pay me back like properly. You know, it's like that whole culture is also the same thing that brings black tax are about. You know, it's just so like stressful. That I've invested in you and now it's your turn to now feed me and now give me sustenance, which is generally just.
And I know there's people who are definitely not. If they just said they're not getting married because they're being stressed out so much. Yeah, maybe you can tell us, by the way, guys, what are the dynamics with dowry? Or if there's been any complications, what were they and how did you guys navigate around them? Yeah, because people are going through it.
Yeah, might also be a reason why some people just opt for come we stay, because they're just like, do they really want to? Jeez.
Yeah,
that's horrid. Okay, here's another question. Someone asked, were you guys scared of being poor when shifting careers for a passion interest? Ama mlikuwa mmejipanga?
I don't think I've ever thought of poverty, but broke, right? It's like there's a massive risk about, like, you know, if you move careers or whatever, you're going to, chances are you're going to have like some period where you're just like, okay, what's going on? What's happening? I've never worried about being poor. I've just been like, okay, maybe I might have a season where I'm not thriving, but I feel it's like, I trust myself that in each season, I'm going to be able to navigate and pivot whatever may come. But yeah, it's a risk for sure.
But I feel like also we definitely come from backgrounds of some level of privilege,
right?
For sure. So it's just like, you know, you're not going to be sleeping in the streets come hell or high water, for sure.
Your livelihood,
exactly.
Really
yeah, you might not have maybe the luxuries of life, but you're not going to not be eating.
Yeah.
Mimi nilikuwa nimejipanga because I had gotten married, so I knew my man, obviously. So my man is how nilikuwa nimejipanga, and by the time, by the time I was, I know, I don't even between coughing and hitting. God. By the time I was quitting, I had already seen like the potential for my income, my platform to be able to bring in significant income. But at that time, it wasn't bringing that much income. But when I had a conversation with him, I just told him I want to try this thing out, and obviously it could go either way. But he was willing to be like, okay, fine. I mean, if it didn't work out, it's not he has money, and if your man has money, you have money. If you have a generous man,
if you have a good man,
caveat, and if your man is generous. So for me, I was just like, I know I'll be okay. So with him as my support system, then I knew that I wouldn't like struggle or anything. Yeah,
I think you should definitely have one if that's what you're thinking about doing. Whether it's your parents, whether it's your man, whether it's a side hustle or something that is already being there. I think it is definitely important to have a safety net, only because when the thing that you're doing for passion becomes your livelihood, there's a dance, there's something that comes into it. Whether it's like the joy doesn't feel as good or whatever, it's now tied to your livelihood. So you're putting pressure on the thing that you find joy in to bring you an income. So if you have something that can support you, it gives you the freedom to continue creating from a place of passion while you work on having it bring you an income.
Exactly.
So if that's where you're thinking of, definitely have support.
Exactly. Or remain at your main job. So it's not, you can work in your career and have the passion project on the side. And then see, now once it starts picking up, I've seen people saying, like now once you start earning the same as what you were earning there, or at least something that you know can sustain you, then you quit. But you don't just start, you've stopped your job today, head of marketing, tomorrow you've started your passion fruit farmer. You need to have been doing it at some point of the both of them for it to be like, it's like the proof of concept kind of.
What I think it's Ivy, just Ivy, who was saying that she did the same thing, because as well she transitioned from marketing into full-time creation. But despite the fact that she was doing it and had the job, when she did finally jump, there's a vacuum you feel, whether you like it or not. And also the stability of like that constant check that you don't, there's something you're going to feel that's going to be like, it's not there anymore.
Also, the lack of structure. It's just like you sleep and you're like, wait, no one is waking me up.
Having to learn
I have to do
self-discipline.
That's the worst. That's the hardest, actually. Yeah.
So there are many things I'm not even going to say about just like the finances part. It's just like how your world changes to have this kind of sense of freedom. But yeah, planning yourself the best you can. I didn't plan myself as much as I thought. And also I feel like I didn't anticipate the emptiness I would feel after I quit the TV show, because I didn't expect to feel the loss. I didn't. But there's a loss.
I know.
There's a loss
and
there.
Not having like work colleagues.
There's something. There's something you lose. So and get ready for that kind of grief that you're going to feel. Especially like maybe it's like you guys have like Christmas parties or stuff like that, and all the things that you won't be part of. There's a grieving process. So anticipate that as you're anticipating the money part as well. Anticipate.
I remember one time actually just feeling so sad the night Zach went for his end of year party. The first year I'd quit, and I was just like, why can't you invite me? He's like, people don't come with their spouses. I'm like, yeah, but you can break the mold. Just have me come, please.
Just projecting my grief.
Oh my God,
it's a thing, hun.
It was not fun.
Okay, so this is another question on work. Have you ever struggled to find work, and how did you handle that? I think you said you've never struggled to find work.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever struggled. There's a season where I wasn't working, like I was looking for a job, but I wasn't actively looking for a job. So it was like when I came back from university, I think it was 20. How old are
20, a long time ago.
Oh my God, yeah, maybe like 2014 or 2015. Anyway, so between when I came back, which was in January, and when I got my first job, it was like January to July. But in that season, I wasn't really like struggling, because I had decided, I already knew, when you come back, you already know that the job market is not as open here. Like there's a lot of people who are in unemployment. So I immediately jumped into entrepreneurship. So I was earning money. It wasn't like I was desperate for a job. So when a job came, it was just like, oh, this is fantastic. But I wasn't like struggling as such. And since then, I've had work since then.
Okay, fine. So for me, I changed careers as also when I relocated. Would not advise that, because you don't have, like, I didn't have the people who are in the industry that I wanted. I was prepared to be in the law industry. I was very prepared for that. I had come back on holiday and like gotten the contacts, the people who would support me, like direction, all of that. Then I switched careers. But when I was trying to, when I was looking for a job as a talk show host, because I now figured out that's what I wanted to do, I looked for the lowest hanging fruit. At the time, there was a friend of mine who I knew who did commercial adverts. So I went to an agency and then I started doing that. And the best part of that was like you get like a lot of money in one big bulk, which I kind of can sustain you as you're looking for a job. Work, so I would say if you're like just exactly what you did, if you're looking for something and that's not available, what's close by that can help you bring an income so that it doesn't become like this really like difficult struggle. Like I know sometimes like you don't have the capital for a business or something else, but there's a skill probably with you in your hands that you already have that you can utilize to be able to navigate. I feel like that's what makes that journey less about this is the worst time of my life and more of like I am still doing this as I'm on the journey to finding the job.
Exactly. Actually, I saw so many questions about job hunting. Someone else said, hello, why didn't you big sisters tell us job hunting is hell? Which was just like, I get that it's difficult, but I feel like that's almost like a defeatist attitude. I know that it's like, okay, you've studied biochemistry and you want to get a job now in biochemistry because that's what you've studied. But that's not always possible. The person who works for me as a social media manager, she studied actuarial science. And it's just like, just jobs in actuary were just not available. And she just started doing social media. And now she's been doing it for like 3-4 years and she's fantastic at it. So I feel like you need to kind of just have a different attitude, especially just knowing the climate that we are currently in. A lot, especially after COVID, a lot of things changed. A lot of, even with technology coming up with AI, people are just hiring less. That's just the reality. But like, I love what you've said about like, what can you do with what you have? I feel like you just kind of need to think outside the box. What can you sell? Also, you cannot afford to have the attitude of, now you have studied law, so now you're not willing to do even like a small business to keep, not being proud of having a small hustle. Because sometimes you have to start at small hustle. Even me, at that point when I came back from uni, it was like, I've studied international justice, but I'm like here shonaing for people clothes. But I'm gonna do it because I want money. You need money, because if you're too proud, so to speak, if you have that chip on your shoulder and just like, me, I'm a lawyer, so I have to do something in law. No, you can't afford to be thinking like that.
And what I feel like personally, because I think I definitely struggled with that because I was just so hell-bent on this is exactly what I wanted to do. However, what you studied and what you do for a living is not who you are. So what I was able to do is like, besides the fact that I didn't want to do like certain jobs, I was like, what job can I do? Within the skills and the talents that I have, what can I do? So even if you're not going to expand yourself as far as the work that you're going to do, you need to expand yourself as far as what you're able to do. What are the talents? What are the gifts that you have? Excavate that out of you and see what you can turn into a profit. Because if you're just closed-minded, it's like, I'm only good at this, I only do this. Then you're closing yourself off on so many. And I think it was JP who was saying something like, everyone has like is born with how many talents. I can't remember the number that he said, but it's not one.
It's not
one or two or three or four or five.
And what you studied does not determine what your talent is, by the way. Absolutely. Okay, here's another question. Okay, I was about to say her name. This is all anonymous. Before you learned about what to share online and what not to share, please tell us some mistakes that you made. Oh, sharing my man's handle, that's number one. That's top of my list.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I definitely feel like when I think back about doing it, at the time at which, like, when I was starting out my social media, it was naive. You don't see like how, but if you ask yourself, what is the purpose of sharing your man's handle?
But the same way you're sharing everybody else's handle, you don't see the harm.
Yeah, you don't see
the part of your life.
He's part of my life. Yeah, but going back, if I could turn back time, I definitely would not have shared his handle because one, he was not interested in being famous. He was not interested in making a career out of social media. So definitely it did add more. It just added no value for me to share that. And then all it would result in is thousands and thousands of people following him before he made his account private. And then it's just like, for what? For what, kind of thing. For me, at that time, I was seeing like, if you grow your platform, then we can even work with some male brands and see what. But it's not what he actually wanted. So that was a big one for me. That was definitely a big one for me.
I feel like this is something we're actually talking about recently. First of all, as far as the sharing the man, funny enough, I don't personally feel like I have a problem. The fact that I was sharing anyone who I've ever dated, I don't think I have that problem. It's just that when you sit in the consequences at the time,
of course,
there's actually nothing wrong with that. And actually only maybe number one, how the breakup goes. Number two, who the person is after the breakup. Those are the things that make you feel like you're regretful of what happened more than actually doing it. Because there's plenty of people who do that and it's like they part, it's quiet, no one cares,
and it's
we all move on, So I think I would put that as a half based on. Anyway, that's one. One thing I was telling you the other day is like, it's not necessarily what you're doing, is that you forget the amount of people who are viewing what you're doing.
Girl.
The smallest thing that you're just thinking is like, oh yeah, it's just like a joke or it's just like a whatever. Right? See, now I don't want to share. There's something I don't think I should share this.
Just share.
No, I can't share for sure.
TMI, literally TMI.
Because I feel like it might even ignite more of that fire.
Okay,
so essentially, I posted something that was a very harmless joke, which everyone else gathered was a joke. But there's a small group of people who did not gather it was a joke. And it ended up being a personal problem with like somebody who I don't even know. Like someone who I've never even met. We like had like this massive kind of back and forth on social media. And when I sat back down there, I was just like, out of the 30,000 people who watch your stories, you don't think at least 1,000 are malicious? You don't think at least there's a big group of people who are just there watching to make a problem out of anything that you say? And then see, that's the problem, because I'm posting as Lydia, but really there's Lydia KM. So the implication of what I'm doing has a bigger impact than really the story I just put up in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
That dance for me is humbling.
We are still actually, it's not even at it before you learned what
this
to
was
share.
juicy.
Yeah.
Hey.
This honestly happens sometimes. I feel like with every mistake you make online, you learn a different lesson. Learning also that people online are not necessarily your friends.
Yeah.
And recognizing that sometimes you'll say something as she's saying in jest or whatever, but it's not necessarily taken that way and becomes like... And you're like, wait, no, but I was joking.
But not everyone sees
Not everyone sees it that way.
Yeah.
I think another thing that I would say is recognizing. There was a point at which, when you become a content creator and you start working with brands, you're really excited to be working with the brands.
Yeah.
But something that I used to do a lot is putting excessive labels on certain products that I was using, like saying this is the best face wash I've ever used. This is the best hand wash I've ever used. This is my favorite shop to shop at. Until you realize you can't say that, because 2 months from now you're going to be working with another one. And then now have you changed? Is this now? Yeah. So these days when I post, I really am careful about the words that I'm using. I'm like, this would definitely be in my top 10 of sunscreens that I would say, or something like that, or saying I really, really love using this without necessarily it being, I'm obsessed with it. It's the absolute best I've ever used, unless I genuinely mean it. Like, unless it actually is like the absolute best.
Yeah.
But that's definitely a change I've had on my platform.
I think the sensitivity of sometimes understanding what your brand and you are two separate things. And because I am my brand, like me, how I post what I do, I literally just post myself completely. Then that having to dance between those two, right? The impact of what you're saying is definitely different, So that's something which you constantly get reminded. You're just going about your business and then you're reminded. It comes up all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, as she says, it's a dance.
It's a dance,
and we are continuously at some point now. I feel like right now I've learned to listen to a voice in my heart. I don't know if it's my heart or my head.
Do you need to?
Exactly. Do you need, or like, are you sure? As soon as I even get the questioning, I don't put it up, because I'm like, that thing that told you don't.
It's now your guidance system.
That's it.
Yeah. And now sometimes I feel like I never used to have this.
Yeah.
There's something that's just
before
like,
it used to be like, this is
such a funny joke.
No.
Is it?
Is it a funny joke? To everybody, it's really not. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you need to give some more thinking to what you're posting. You?
Oh,
was that your question?
Yeah. We've had an episode kind of that was a lot about this, but anyway, let's go get it anyway. What's your view on black tax? Is it optional or mandatory? What do you think? First of all, black tax is mandatory.
Yeah.
In that's
the definition. That's the definition of it. Yeah.
The fact that somebody's in a position where it's just like you're having to dance between taking care of your family and your loved ones, which is something you want to do, and maybe possibly helping yourself. So what do we think about it? It
sucks, but it sucks. It's there. Like, there's nothing. I don't think there's anything compulsory about having to support family members, but I will say that definitely the pressure is there, and a lot of people bow to the pressure. However, it's definitely not compulsory, because how many of us have relatives who go abroad and literally you never hear from them ever again? They will never send a cent. They will never. I feel like everyone has. Exactly. But they sleep somehow, and they've just decided that your problems are not their problems. So they will just be there comfortably living their life, and so it's not compulsory.
It's not.
But I guess it's like, based on your own ethics system, your own belief system,
value system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But definitely it doesn't have to be, I feel like it doesn't have to be as horrid as it can be made to seem. So for example, knowing that, okay, fine, your parents maybe are not well off or whatever, and you're doing well, you can decide that you're going to give them a certain amount of money per month, but it can't be them now asking you for absolutely everything, that we need you must send this amount of money. You can also put boundaries that say, I'm comfortably able to send you 50,000 a month, and that's my limit.
That's what I can do.
Exactly. So in that case, it's kind of still some form of black tax, but at least you're being able to take some of your power back.
I think that is the difference between, is like, I'm here, I want to take care of you, and also I want to be able to grow. Because if you succumb to consistently giving all of your money to taking care of people, then you are putting yourself in a perfect position to demand black tax from your kids.
Ooh.
You are repeating the generation. So the way we need to do it is to be able to have enough to build ourselves, because we want to build ourselves. And the more you have, the more you can give. And also be able to support, because sometimes like things are coming up and like what can you do? But when I think of like, so me, like, am I gonna be doing this to my kids?
Yeah.
I have boundaries.
I
get boundaries. I get boundaries instantly
yeah.
to imagine that I'm going to do this same thing.
Honestly.
And actually, to be honest, my black tax really isn't from my parents more so. Well, let's say not my mom really. And even for my dad, it's not so, it's more like a family, more than necessarily my parents. But either way, I want to put myself in a position that my kids can spend all their money. They don't have to think about me. They can just do what they want. If they help me, sour.
Yeah. I am, Zach and I, let me say, we are taking extraordinary lengths to make sure that we will not burden our kids in the future, whether it's building passive income streams, life insurance, pension, or whatever it is that you're putting away, savings, like long-term savings, which mature, education. Yeah, exactly. Education policies, like, please, let's do it. Now that our generation, we know better, we must do better. Yeah. We must do better. Okay, someone else is asking, on a first date, how do I make sure I don't show too much interest, but also show I am interested? I would say just be yourself.
I would say definitely be yourself. However, if you feel like saying I love you, you need to hold that. You need to hold that. Please. Baby. I know he's cute.
Yeah, there's some things, obviously.
He's tall.
Don't say, oh money. My God, you're perfect. You're not going to say, oh my God, you're perfect.
What I would say is like, be yourself, but don't decide what it is. So the way we decide how it is like, I've gone on a date and I like him and he's cute. This is the love of my life. Don't. Yeah. Don't decide what it is. Be curious let it go where it will go. Yeah. Let it end where it will end, because that means you're not making conclusive statements. You can say, oh, I like the way that you speak. That's showing interest. Or I like that this is your view. You can express affirmation for what you're liking, however, not concluding it. Yeah. Like, you're the best. This is amazing. I've never been on a date more amazing than this one. You know? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's also, I guess, a personality thing. If you're a really extroverted person, a really expressive person, then of course there can be a tendency to overdo. So you kind of need to be like yourself, but a slightly more reserved version of yourself. Yeah. There are things which, if you want to say, don't say there. Keep them for the group chat that you're about to send now when you go. Sure. Exactly. Yeah. So keep them. But my rule of thumb as well is I tend to because I'm very expressive, I tend to want to see the nod on the somebody else. So if somebody is like super affirming, and they're telling me all these amazing things, it doesn't mean I have to do it. Yeah. But if I do have something I want to share, I feel like he won't then also think that he's the love of my life because I shared back, because he's doing it. So that's where I like to say, that's where it feels comfortable for me. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think that's pretty good. Yeah. That's a pretty good way to do it. Yeah, it's like if he's not telling you you're the most amazing thing, temper yours. Yeah, and I feel like also with first dates, I used to try to kind of just like match the energy that I'm getting. Yeah, I think that's a good nod. You can't be the one who's like up here amazing. The guy is just like, and also match the energy. Saying that you're not reading the room. That's it. Read the room and just give enough without giving too much. And if you start feeling like you've given too much, go to the bathroom, compose yourself. Yeah. Compose yourself and come back a new woman. But do you know what? May we date men who they amplify, they express, they affirm in a way that you don't feel like you're too much. Exactly. Ooh, amen. Thank you. Amen. Thank you so much. Okay. How do you get over the fear of commitment and let yourself love someone? 21, actually never dated. Actually, there's many questions, by the way. There's that one. And then there's another one about like, dating when you're 19, things like that. I would suggest if you can have access to therapy as early as possible, do that. Because some of the questions you guys are asking us is like, I can't tell you how to undo that. That sounds like there's a reason why you're afraid of commitment. You might have a wound that I have no idea about. Because naturally, we are people who want to connect with other people. So if you have something that's stopping you from doing that, it might be a wound that you need to heal. Yeah. So I keep plugging Red Cross 1199. It's free counseling for pretty much any issues. Yeah. I guess people say, you're not going to get the same person, or it's not the same when they're not like a consistent therapist. But what do you have available? What are the options right now? What do you have available close to you? Yeah. Because the truth is, the fear of commitment or the fear of loving someone is just kind of thing that just comes with the risk of opening your heart, but it shouldn't be something that's stopping you from even dating. Exactly. Yeah. And also I feel like sometimes it's like when it's something you've
you've never done. Obviously, the older you grow, the more it feels like, do I actually,
And
will I be able to do this thing? But sometimes you'll meet someone who makes you even forget that you had a fear of commitment.
Yeah.
So perhaps it could be that you've just not found that person yet. I was at a parenting coaching seminar this morning, and I learned something really interesting. Your frontal lobe of your brain doesn't fully develop until you're 25.
Yeah. And for men, it's later, no?
Yeah, for men, it's even
28.
later. Exactly. But somehow we feel like anything we should have done like by 25 needs to be like, we have to have dated, have had sex, have done all these things. And of course, because so many different people are getting in relationships, are having babies, are going into come we stays, we start feeling like there's something wrong with me if I've not dated anyone seriously by the time I'm 22. I don't think that's necessarily true.
It's not.
I feel like even if it takes another 2, 3 years, 4 years, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing that says that by 20 you have to have had your first boyfriend.
Yeah.
If you have, I mean, great, but chances are that's not the person you're going to end up with for life. Of course, you do get like good lessons from dating around.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like it's anything that you should be necessarily concerned or worried about at this stage.
Especially about you,
especially
who you are.
exactly. Unless, as Lydia has said, if you feel like that fear of commitment is so like, it's like genuinely like,
crippling,
I cannot see myself, definitely go and see. Is it that you saw commitment going badly in your family? Is it that it's never been modeled to you what good commitment can look like?
Yeah. As coming from somebody who I believe that I deserve enough love that I'm always willing to keep my heart open and to date, I tend to feel like me staying on the sideline. Sorry.
Stop telling me sorry. You've told me already 7 times.
I don't know. That's a normal reaction.
No,
to feel
but it's
sorry
just a
for
cough.
you.
I'm not feeling pain or anything. Yeah, great. Done. Good.
Well, no, me, I want sorry.
No. Oh, you want sorry?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, babe.
Okay.
I feel like there's a big part of experiencing life to me that I find so much joy when it comes to loving, right? And I do what I can, and I've been doing, by the way, this like even the time when I've been intentionally single, to deal with what I need to heal and to feel stronger, to be able to open my heart again. So sometimes it's not necessarily that that thing is the big thing that's the problem. It's the thing that stands in the way of where you are now and that thing.
Yeah.
So that's the thing which you probably need to fix and affirm and get through.
Exactly.
But I'm here to tell you, me, what does Steve Simple Boy say? Hata wakituvunja mbavu. We continue on.
We continue on. That's it. Okay, let me find another one. So someone asked a question about the podcast. So they were like, about the Spotify fund that you guys won. First of all, we didn't win. We were just awarded. We were granted. Yeah. Any update? Are they paying for your production, or we still are waiting? So I found that an interesting question because it kind of feels like it's like really deep, as if it affects you kind of somehow, but it doesn't really. But anyway, we received the fund at the end of last year. Yeah. So very short. Actually, I think at the point at which they were announcing, it was like within less than a month we had received the fund. And of course, we have been using it to sustain the podcast in different ways, including our production, including our social media management, including everything that we need to sustain the podcast. So yeah, they don't pay for our production. They give us the grant, and we have used it as we have seen fit. Yeah, but we are still so eternally grateful for that grant.
Well.
Yeah,
it's like it's an exhale.
It was an exhale that has just
exhale. And we're still like working and getting partnership and things like that. So it's not just that we are breathing, because the money is not going to sustain forever. Yeah, but it's a breath of fresh air. It gave us
room to breathe. So we were like, at least we know, even if we were to not get even a single client for like 8 months or a year, we are going to be fine, and we're going to have the podcast. Yeah, so that was really great. So someone asked a related question, and they said, do you earn enough from the podcast? What is enough?
That's what I was going to say. Like, what defines as enough?
What is enough? Yeah. I feel like we could definitely earn more. I feel like we earn comfortably.
We do earn comfortably. It looks nice when we look at our bank account, for sure.
Exactly,
yeah. But it's like when you think about it from a perspective of how much our expenses on a month, that's the way we think about it. Okay, this is what's in the account, but the expenses per month, assuming everything shuts down, no clients are coming in, the Spotify fund has gone, it's like then now you're not at comfortable. Yeah.
I feel like we earn enough to like cover our costs and have some extra. That's what I feel like we have. But would it be enough? Like if you didn't have anything else you're earning, we would not have enough to just like this is our job.
No,
Exactly. No.
no,
So
no.
I definitely feel like we could earn more.
But
I
could
think
we? But based on our lifestyle, no.
based on our lifestyle, no, exactly. So I feel like we could definitely earn more. But it's been increasing as the more you guys subscribe, the more you guys watch our content and things like that, the more we get sponsored people who could sponsor our episodes, which obviously helps for us to grow. So it's growing, but it could always grow more.
Question: in the Kenyan landscape, though, I feel like we are we're
I
earning
would
well.
say we are. Yeah, in the Kenyan landscape, I would say we are earning
we're
well.
earning pretty
but
well.
you see, if you balance it according, again, as you said, according to expenses,
and stuff like that. But
production,
it's you we are talking to.
Yeah,
it's
production alone. Actually, if we didn't have video, I would say we were earning exceptionally well.
In fact, but guys, we can rest.
Yeah, we can sleep.
Rest.
But because of the video element, it actually
we want it to be like amazing. You guys are always complimenting us, by the way, about how great our production is.
Yeah,
that's just the standard we want.
This is the standard, and I feel like if we had the podcast just as on the podcast platforms without YouTube, there's an element that would be lacking because we like getting dressed up. We like we like you guys being able to see our facial reactions and see what
that one.
Yeah. That's
this actually
so you
does
can see it makes sense. So you can see when we are doing our mama burger high fives and see what it adds something. So yeah, but yeah, we are not complaining. That's all we are saying is we are not complaining.
I'm not listening to your answers. I'm not looking for my questions. Oh, this is another one which I wanted to say that I feel like therapy is needed. How do I go about life when I know something isn't for me, but I accept because it's what's available? Relationship, friends, family. That is the road to hell. If somebody asks us for the roadmap to a horrible life that you don't like, it's that. Accepting what's available as opposed to what you want. And I guess sometimes it's like, as we're talking about, what do you have here? But if something is bad for you, like it's terrible for your mental health or your self-esteem or just generally your well-being, sticking around it does actually prevents you from ever even seeing sight of what's actually good for you. So I personally say when I got here in 2016, when I relocated, I only had one friend for a year. Dennis holding it down.
Oh, baby, I was ready.
You were just there.
I was ready.
But you weren't there for me.
That was
2017, 2016, over to 2017.
I was pregnant with Mukeni. I didn't have time.
Oh, God.
And I was getting married.
Oh, dear. Oh, I missed your wedding.
I know.
Doing what?
Doing
nothing.
Nothing.
So yeah, I didn't have a friend for about a year, and I feel like there was a big clash when I did first come with what I expected life was going to be or how friendships would be versus how they were. So connecting with people was a struggle, but I kept my one. I kept my one friend, and he used to just hang about with me all of the time because he knew he was my only friend.
Yeah.
But of course I had my family, but I am happy to have my very small circle, my 2-3 friend, my one friend, until I know that people are going to be good for you. And sometimes we do that because we're trying to find the best thing. But honestly, I would say no.
Yeah.
Don't. It's not worth it for me.
Yeah, I definitely also feel like there's an element of like being in your comfort zone, which comfort zone doesn't necessarily mean you're comfortable because you know that this person or this friendship or whatever is not good for you. It's just familiar. And then now you start thinking, okay, it's a lack mentality almost. Okay, so if I let go of this 1 or 2 friends that I have, then I won't have any friends. And what if I never make another friend? And then, you kind of box yourself in, and then it's like, okay, I want to make more friends, but let me wait and find those friends, and then now I'll be able to let go of these ones. But sometimes even you just being with these ones is what is preventing you from having other ones, because you're always hanging out with these guys. Their attitudes are the same attitudes you're going to have. The toxicity that's there is going to be the same one in your mind. So it prevents you from being able to find someone better. It's like being in a relationship and saying, okay, now I know he's bad for me, but let me just wait and find a better man. But how are you going to find a better man? You're always with your toxic man.
Yeah.
So there's no way you're going to get better. Yeah. So I feel like be honest with yourself about if there's a reason why, if there's a purpose that this toxic or whatever it is that's not good for you, if there's a reason why it's serving you, there's a way that it's serving you right now that you're not willing to let go of. So be honest about that, and be honest about, are you willing to let it go? Does your discomfort or knowing that this thing is not good enough for you, is that high enough in your priority list compared to the comfort that you feel of having just a friend or just a man or just something like that? Because once you are able to answer that, once this one becomes higher than this one, it'll be easy for you to let go of that toxic relationship.
Easy. And what people don't want to be with themselves. You're most scared of being with yourself. Yeah. That's why you're clogging your life with anything that can exist.
I told you to stop saying the truth on this. podcast. I told you no truth.
So you don't want to be on your own
Oof.
because maybe you have to look at yourself. Maybe you have to hear your thoughts. Maybe you have to heal your wounds. And that to me is the one thing I feel like sets me in a different way when it comes to decision making over my life. I'm not afraid of myself. I'm not afraid of the discomfort of being alone. I'm not afraid with what comes with being alone. In fact, sometimes it excites me about what I can uncover about myself when I'm alone. So I'm not willing to be in a situation which isn't serving anyone just so that I can fill my life with things. Absolutely not. And the second you do let go for what's not serving you, you align with so much more. That absolutely is.
I know. Me right now, literally where I've reached in my 30s. Literally, let me tell you, anything which I'm just like, I'm not happy about how this situation is, or I'm not happy about how this person makes me feel, or I'm not comfortable in this situation. I'm just like, I'm an adult. I don't have to be.
Your decision.
I'm just like, no, I'm not going to be around anyone who doesn't make me feel good. I'm not going to just sit in situations that are not making me feel okay. Unless it's like I've had a fight with my husband. I can't throw him in the dustbin. We have taken vows and we are committed to each other. So unless it's like something to do with like my direct, like my husband and my kids, even family members, they are disposable, by the way. Not disposable, but
we can have boundaries.
We can have boundaries, exactly. So for me, I'm just unwilling to sit in a situation where I'm uncomfortable, I'm unhappy, I'm unheard, or I feel invalidated. I'm just not willing to do it anymore. I'm just not.
Yeah. It's something that comes with a certain sense of self-confidence and like, self-esteem, which is just like, I am great on my own. In fact, I feel like I'm a blessing to the company I keep. Exactly. So if you're not a blessing to me, what are we doing here?
That's it.
Bye.
Good night.
Was that
me
mine?
now. I think it's me now. Is it okay to date your friend's once boyfriend? Someone who was once your friend's boyfriend.
Me, I feel like personally, I stay away. I feel like there's enough men that I don't want to do any that kind of dance. But this is the thing. My friends are very important to me. I don't play around my friends. Their feelings, their values, what they care about is deeply important to me. And I'm not willing to even dream of risking that over a guy. That's my stance. And that's it.
I feel like, depending on the age of the person who has sent this in, the word friend could mean something completely different.
But let's assume it's a friend. It's someone who matters to you.
If it's someone who matters, if it's someone who really matters to you, me, I would assume if the only situation under which this would be acceptable is, honestly, you guys have discovered that you and this man are soulmates. Like, you're such soulmates that you can't even imagine not being together. In which case, I feel like...
What is even the situation that's coming up that you guys have been able to discover that?
How did you find this out?
How did you find that out?
I feel like in that case, you would have to have had a conversation. Me, even by the time this man is even messaging me, I'll just be like, hey, Lid, by the way, your man messaged me. Do you know what's going on or whatever? Should I talk to him or whatever? That would be the first thing I would think. I wouldn't think now it's later, now it's time for dating, and now it's like, hey, I should definitely tell her no. If it's like a true friend, I prioritize the friendship.
And personally speaking, and the reason why I'm so black and white about this, and I know it comes off very good, this is the way, it's only because I'm aware of what can happen, right? A man...
Sorry.
Don't say sorry, as you've said.
Yeah, don't say sorry. I already said sorry to myself. You don't say sorry to me.
I'm glad you're coughing.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. Because that means I'm getting out the toxins.
Yeah, into our air. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anyway, because I know I'm not delusional. I can see that you're a good-looking guy. Maybe we even when we're all together, I find you extra funny or something. I'm not going to be in a room alone with you tomorrow. I'm not calling you. I'm not allowing you to be talking to me. If I can see the steps towards a very tricky situation, I'll do my best to avoid it. I'll do my best to avoid it. So that's why I've never been in that position, because you can foresee. You're calling you. You guys are talking like this at night. Once you laugh backward, you've lost the game.
Once you laugh backward,
you've lost the game. You've lost the game.
Backward or forward? Because it could be...
No. Once you do that, the other day she recorded me doing that. I was like, I've lost the game.
You're
I've
done.
Lost the game.
You're done.
I've
Good
lost
night.
The game.
I also feel like this is another example of how lack mentality shows up. There are men. Millions and millions. It's just that this is the one that you know, the one that you're familiar with. Why does it have to be him?
She said it.
I said it.
Ding.
That's the end of that. I'm not saying
the reason why
else.
we're shopping the same bag.
It's because you don't think that there's it. Come on.
No, that's about it.
That's about it.
So this is, I guess, for you. Okay, actually, no. How do you validate your emotions? how do I validate my own emotions and how I feel? I would give a very simple exercise. I share this all the time. You just take deep breaths. You close your eyes, and I got this exercise from the book Conscious Uncoupling by Catherine Woodward Thomas. You close your eyes, you take deep breaths, and then you ask yourself, how are you feeling, sweetheart? Or whatever name you want to call yourself. Me, I say sweetheart because that's what the book said, and I love it. So you say, how are you feeling, sweetheart? And then you say what you're feeling. I am feeling X. Name your feelings. There is a wheel, actually, an emotional wheel that your therapist gave you. We can put it here.
Okay.
We can put it here so that you know how to
identify what you're feeling.
I have that's one of my things in life. I just know what I'm feeling all the times, and I know the words to use it, but I know that's a struggle actually for most people. So this will is going to help you feel around the words that you need to express yourself. Then once you express what you're feeling, you say to yourself, I can see that you're feeling sad. That is how you validate yourself. And then you can say that with as many feelings as possible. You can also do that after you're done with the feelings that you're feeling. You can do, what do you need, sweetheart? And you can say what you need. So that's another way to discover what you actually need, because sometimes we are asking people to give us what we don't know that we need. So those are two exercises I do if I'm feeling like emotionally overwhelmed and I don't know what's happening or what I need. And sometimes I say, I need a hug. And I can't get a hug that in that moment, but I know I can maybe have a conversation that feels like a hug, or the next time I see someone, I can get a hug. And also, do you know what? I don't get intimate hugs enough. I realized the other day,
I do.
Nancy hugged me, and she was like, oh, can I hug you? I was like, when's the last time someone asked for a hug? Not just come here, I'm hugging you.
Or just like, hey.
Like I hug that all the time. Like a hug. That's what I need. I'm gonna get myself more hugs.
Just get a man.
That's an exercise.
Men, tall, big men give the best hugs.
Yeah. But I want even ones that are not necessarily from a romantic partner. I want my friends to hug me and to hold me. I can't wait to hug my mom. Right now, by the time we're seeing this, I'm hugging my mom.
Let me not say insert picture here of Lydia hugging her mom. Of Lydia hugging her mom.
Socials. Insert picture here.
Then insert picture here. At the time, they're all there. Guys, please, where is the picture you said it was going to be inserted? It's tough. It's tough.
Anyway,
another thing I would say about the validating your own emotions is, I feel like it's a difficult, a hard pill to swallow, to be honest. It's a very hard pill to swallow. The reality of, like, when you grow up and you realize a lot of times you're not going to be able to get the validation from others that you want or that you need.
Pill.
It is extremely difficult, even if it is your partner, even if it is your husband, even if it is your friend. Sometimes it just doesn't come. Okay, like sometimes maybe you want to be able to be like, I feel sad about this and this and this and this, but maybe the other person still feels very justified in what they said or what they did. So instead of giving you that validation, all they do is fight back, or is like, be like, no, but the reason why I did that is because of this. And sometimes you just kind of need to be okay with you validating yourself. It also, I feel like, makes you a lot more I don't know. I feel like it allows you to show up more objectively to conversations and emotionally independent. So, because it's not now dependent on, I really need for you to say, I can see you're feeling sad, and I really understand why you're feeling sad. Because sometimes they just don't understand why you're feeling sad, and I don't think that makes them a bad person. Maybe they just don't understand,
or they don't have the tools,
or they don't
to validate
exactly
you.
Because now, as the point in therapy we've learned is, like, if I said something to make you feel bad, I'll still be like, I'm so sorry, that was not my intention to make you feel bad, but I can still explain, like, what happened. But
that was not my intention. That's assumed.
I'm just like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry because the fact that you're feeling bad, I just feel bad about it. But a lot of people are not going to do that. So you really just need to learn to regulate your own nervous system, so that now, even when it comes time to have that conversation about who did and what not, it's not really from a, like, painful emotional place. It's more from just like, this is what happened, and, like, I want to talk about it because my feelings were hurt, and I would like for my feelings not to be hurt next time.
When I validate my own emotions, I rarely need anybody else to.
It's beautiful.
Honestly, what a hack in life. And of course, it's great when you get that validation, but I don't make that anyone else's responsibility. So that's what I do. If I'm feeling like that's what I'm needing, I give that to myself. Or
sometimes, as I do now, Lydia actually is the one who taught me this, is that I just tell the person, more often than not, it's my husband, I just tell him, I would really love for you to validate the emotions I'm about to share with you.
There you go.
so that he knows, he's prepped. I'm just like, I want to say this, and what I want to hear from you is that I see why you're feeling sad, and I'm validated. Because you can't just assume people know that they're just going to come, and most people don't. Most don't.
They don't.
That was a good one. What are your thoughts on the wandering eye? A boyfriend who checks out other shorties.
No. I feel like a wandering eye when you're sat there. Like, you can't contain your head when I'm right here. Honey.
Unless it's like she's so beautiful that even me, my eyes are wandering. My
But that's
eyes also
not a
like
wandering eye.
That's not
that's
wandering.
we have seen something that God has created that's special. He has eyes too.
I mean, if
but
Naruki walks by,
every skirt.
No. I think no.
That's a massive red flag.
It is. Oh,
so what are you doing? You're just eating your fish. As he's doing this to the waitress.
He's looking around and saying, ebu geuka kidogo tuone. No, that's disrespectful.
No.
I feel like sometimes...
And no self-control.
Oh, honestly, I feel like sometimes it's assumed, maybe a man assumes that you already know. Like, obviously, you know that all men at some point check other people out. But having the respect to not do it so obviously when I am there... That's a disrespectful thing. So I feel like if it's not obvious to him that this is disrespectful, it requires a conversation. It requires for you to have a conversation. Babe, when you glare and whistle at other women when I am sat at the table, it really is uncomfortable for me.
And I think you should also be honest with yourself about which truth are you pretending not to know here.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
Because sometimes we tell people who to be, ignoring who they truly are. And that's just a road to nonsense. Okay, I'll try to stop looking at every skirt. Problem solved. Sometimes it's like, is this who I want to be with?
Yeah. Especially if it's like a habit, like he's always doing it. Every time you go out, every time you... No, thank you.
I would say no.
I feel like we have gone through so few questions. I feel like I've gone through so few.
Too much. That's the problem.
Shut up.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut up, honestly. Okay.
People always ask us, do we have disagreement? How do we handle them? We have disagreements of like, I want to do this episodes, but it's not a disagreement. It's a conversation about what do we want, what creativity do we want to do. Sometimes we've both had conversation where it's just like, maybe I've done something to her that she is not happy about, not comfortable with, and vice versa. And we always create a space which is just like, when you do this, this is how it makes me feel. That's actually how we always talk. And it is uncomfortable to hear that maybe you've hurt someone or you're acting in a way that's making someone uncomfortable. But holding space, number one, for the courage to be able to tell me. I always respect that. I told you that. It's not, I don't know if it's a high. Is it a high?
It's the fact that it's just like
there's something so beautiful and vulnerable and connecting to know that you have the courage to tell me when I've wronged you, and then vice versa. And all the time, our reaction to each other is, it's not even a conversation. I'm sorry.
Because me automatically, regardless of what you're about to say, the fact that it made you unhappy or
done.
I am sorry.
And then we have a conversation around and maybe like, what was your perspective about it? So that I can understand where you are coming from as well, because that's going to make me feel a lot more at ease, knowing that you had a completely different perspective.
And then how would you prefer for me to
do it
be next
forward.
time? Exactly. That definitely makes sense.
So that happens. But no, I think we're really emotionally mature. I would
think so.
We have a very emotionally mature friendship.
Actually, sometimes I think about that and I'm just like, I feel like being in a friendship with an emotionally mature person, which is you, I feel like makes me emotionally mature in the friendship. I don't know if that's me like outside there, but I just don't feel like I've really gotten the chance to test it out.
Oh yeah?
I don't know. But I definitely feel like you have increased my emotional maturity 1,000,000,000%.
I love that. And it's just like sensitivity, and give a shit about who you're working with, your friends. Just care about them.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, last one I will ask. What is one thing you don't like about the other person? I'll go first.
Go on.
I hate how perfect Lydia is. I just hate it so much because how can I compete with this goddess, this queen of a woman?
Stupid.
That's all I can say. I don't have any other answer to that. You?
Yeah, no, there's nothing I don't like about you. And I've said this before. I said this when we with Stephanie when I did SNS, and she was asking me like, what is it I don't like about Joe? I was like, Joe is the least problematic person. And I told you
2,000 more trolls would disagree with you online.
The least annoying person. Like, actually, I don't think you're annoying at all.
Really?
Because I just think you're not even around enough to be annoying. I don't know. It's like she's just efficient. It's like she's where she needs to be, so you don't end up being annoying. I mostly admire you, honestly.
Yeah. I feel like I admire you as well.
Yeah.
I honestly even can't think about something. I mean, there are things which is like you do things differently from me, but I wouldn't say there are things that I don't like.
Yeah. And also I think we've learned to navigate. Like your fast-pacedness was really just so overwhelming in the beginning.
Yeah.
But it's like I learned to navigate from a place of actually you being fast-paced doesn't require me to be fast-paced.
Yeah.
So it's like you can be comfortable in where you're at and give you as well space, by the way, to be fast-paced.
But no, I'm not as fast-paced.
No, you're
Thank
not.
you.
It's like
I'm a bit more calm.
you find balance as well. So it's like you too, you get to learn to dance around the things in that person that's just like that's who they are. It's just not who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we just really love each other.
We do.
So much. And we just admire
do
each
you
other.
foresee like a fight ever?
I can't even imagine.
Really?
I feel
like, as I always say, one of us is going to have a head. In both situations,
so, yeah.
one of us will have a head.
Yeah.
I can't say that one person is not going to lose their mind.
Yeah.
But I feel like
one person
in each
will
situation, there's someone who's going to be like, let's come.
Exactly. Let's
down.
relax. Also, I feel like at this point, we know each other well enough to know when maybe you might have done something which the other person would not be happy about. If it's enough for it to be a fight, I would be like, for example, we come for a shoot and then it's like 11, I'm sat here and you're like, oh, Joe, I don't think I'm going to make it. I mean, you already know in advance. It didn't have to be a fight because I know you already know I'm mad. So you see,
ridiculous.
That's it. Yeah. So we already know.
Any kind of lateness.
But these days, me and Metulia these days, by the way.
The other day she was actually late.
I wasn't.
Yes, at the shoot I was starting at 11. You were strolling in at 20 past.
At 11:10.
No, 20 past.
Was it 20 past, Nancy? Huh?
It was?
Thank you, bitch.
It was?
It was less than I remember.
20 past. And I was like, if this was any of us, at Yuko Happy, Murugi is there 11 and you are not there at
come on.
First of all, in the group chat, Semeni Ukweli, I'm here. Where are you all? Lazy fucks.
No, I'm really not that kind of person. I don't know why they're trying to make me seem that way.
There.
Thank you. And I really appreciate the grace extended to me. Anyway, basically, we don't hate anything about each other. That was the beginning and the end of that question. Yeah. Exactly. Thank you guys so much for your questions. I feel like we've literally only scratched the surface. Are we willing to do another Q&A one?
I think so. Maybe we can do it like end of year.
We can do, because I feel like there's so many questions that we didn't get to answer, and we know that there's a lot of you guys who want us to answer some of your questions, but leave them down in the comment section and we'll be sure, if you're watching on YouTube, we'll be sure to answer some of them. And also the ones on DM, we try our best, guys. We try even our own DMs. Murugi Munyi and Lydia KM. They are cobwebs. I'll literally go on and then it's like 3, 4, 5. Okay.
It's just like right now I am trying to stabilize.
That's it.
As far as
we're in a busy season,
it's a very what is happening.
A lot is happening. But we really do thank you guys for your feedback. Like we love you guys so much. And actually, this is one of the main reasons why we got a social media manager, so that even if we don't necessarily have the time on that day, for example, to go and read every DM, we want you to know that it has been seen, and we always like help with the responses and things like that. So when someone responds to you, you are hearing the voices of Lydia, KM and Murugi Munyi. We want you to know that. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for watching this episode. Thank you for your continued support. Don't leave here without subscribing to our channel. And of course, follow us on every single platform. TMI Podcast KE, Murugi Munyi, and
Lydia
KM. See you guys next time.
Bye.